very, very difficult here at Cadwell Park all weekend, but it's a mark of the man that he will score points again, and he is the only man to have scored points if he manages to do it at this race as well. He's the only man in the 250 class to have consistently scored points at every single round. That says a lot about him and a lot about his team. Oh, big time back markers to get by now, whisking past number 26, Andrew Sawford is the race leader. Jason Davis made a good job of that, wiped the nose. Gary Jackson next gets the blue flag treatment from the marshal post. Oh, we've got so many people here, and he's going to catch them where he doesn't want them, right at the gooseneck. That will slow Jason Davis up a bit and might give Gary Jackson a chance to close in. It has. Jackson has dealt with the back markers perfectly. 18 is Darren Thomas. Oh, dear me, on the front end of the bike there. Really, Gary Jackson is riding wonderfully in the wet here. He really put a lot of pressure on the front end of that bike as he slid down the inside of the back markers, and the rest have given up. So, Jason Davis and Gary Jackson, really these two hard to separate from their performance today. They've been very, very good throughout. Jason Davis, well, we're familiar with performances from him. Gary Jackson, I don't often get much of a chance to shout and scream about Gary Jackson, but today, really, he deserves every bit of shouting and screaming because this is a great ride. Through the right, through the left. Oh, here comes a hairpin, but I don't think Gary Jackson, even he, is not going to be close enough to make a pass like that, Jason Davis. So barring a mistake at Barn Corner, Jason Davis is going to take this win. It is a fine win from a fine second place man, Gary Jackson. Bit of slipstreaming down to the line though. Checker flag is hanging out. Oh! I tell you what, Davis won it, I'm sure. Gary Jackson might have thought that he had. But that was a great finish to the 250 race. Very difficult conditions indeed. Jason Davis the winner, 16 laps at 77.12 miles an hour. Gary Jackson can be proud of that though. Superb second place from him. And Darren Barton, the ex-Grand Prix man, ending up in third place. Surely in awe of what the two men in front of him have achieved today. Superb scenes trackside then from Jason Davis, the winner, well, by a hair's breadth from Gary Jackson. Two fine performances from those two today. Darren Barton could only look on in awe in third place. Ian Bennett, a good ride from him in fourth, keeping out the series leader Callum Ramsey in fifth, Gary Haslam sixth, Lee Jackson in seventh, Stephen Thompson in eighth. What a race.
Congratulations, that's a brilliant win for you. Obviously the first one of the season. It's about time, really.
It's about time we had a win, yeah. We've been close a few times, but I don't know. Yeah, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'd like to thank all the team and the sponsors, and it's just brilliant, you know, getting there.
It is getting there, absolutely. You've had some bad luck so far, but this obviously tastes very sweet, this victory.
Yeah, it tastes sweet, but, you know, you've got to be there week in, week out. Callum's done it, so he's not won the championship yet, but we're still in there and we're still fighting.
You certainly are. You're still in there with a chance. Obviously, 3 rounds to go. Hopeful?
Oh, yeah. It's not over till it's over, is it? Let's have it.
Let's have it indeed. Bring it on. Well, the team certainly enjoyed the moment. In fact, I think the Davis squad just about covered every traditional mode of celebration known to man. Unseen by our cameras, this lot had already been hosed down by Jason's team, as if they weren't already wet enough. But then comes retribution. He's still a massive advantage. Callum Ramsey, 34 points in front of the chasing Jason Davis. John McGuinness, well, he is the series champion, but can only watch because of his broken hip. Lee Jackson in fourth, Tom Tunstall fifth, Gary Haslam sixth. The Superbikes are next. Neil Hodgson was the fastest man in qualifying. He floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. Does he scare Chris Walker? Does he hell? Why did so many fans make the trek into the wilds of Lincolnshire? 2 reasons: Hodgson and Walker. There are some great riders in the British series, but 2 stand out. Suzuki's Chris Walker never says never, even when he should. But then Neil Hodgson's no angel either. Sometimes it ends in tears and tantrums. Mostly it's just unbelievably good racing. At Knock Hill, Chris did the first double of the year and closed to within 1 point of Neil. National Tyres Team Suzuki are very happy.
I've had a good run really the last few races, and getting to grips with the Suzuki more and more every time I ride it, and coming to a few tracks that I really like. Old Park this weekend is one of my favourites. Mallory Park the next time out, definitely my favourite, and back to Brands and Donington. So no, really looking forward to the last third of the season.
Do you know what impresses us at Sky Sports about you is you never actually give up. You're there all the time, tearing away at it. It doesn't matter whether you're on the bike, off the bike, in the paddock, wherever you are, you never actually give way. You're always at it all the time. Is that your personality generally, or does it mean so much to you, you've just got to do whatever it takes?
I mean, it is definitely how I am a little bit, but I mean, I do try and do whatever it takes to try and win the races and win the championship. I've been really close the last 3 years. It's got closer every year, and managed to take it to the last race of the last round last season, and hopefully we'll be doing the same this year. But no, I mean, people say I'm aggressive, this, that, but I just, when you're out on the circuit, Suzuki, they've paid me to do a job and to try and win races for them, and obviously that's what I'm out there trying to do. And this is the best team I've ever ridden for, and they really, really do try so hard. I'd feel guilty if I didn't try as hard as they do, So I think it's kind of a big package thing, and things are looking good so far.
What about the team? Will the team go up into World Superbikes, do you think? Would you, as Hodgson has said to us previously, would you prefer to move with this team? Are you so happy with this team you'd like to go with them?
Yeah, I mean, that's always, I would think, the best route, but whether it's possible or not, I know INS Takei have voiced their wanting to get to World Superbike for the last couple of years, and they're not, as far as I'm aware, they're not far away from doing that. Our team would love to go, but whether that's possible with the sponsors we've got, or whether we'd have to find new ones, or whether Suzuki GP would be interested or not, it's still kind of up in the air. But I mean, ideally it'd be superb to stay with the same crew around you. I mean, I'm really happy with this team. It's the best team I've ridden for. And we know how to work together. They know what I mean when I go off the bike, and they know what I want from the bike. So it just helps you. But at the same time, sometimes you have to just take the leap of faith and go for whatever's up there. So.
Apart from factory bikes and factory tackle, what does it take? In the GSE team, you've got Darryl Healy, who basically is the main money originally behind that. He's obviously the backstop regarding the finances. In this team, there doesn't really seem to be the same situation, perhaps funding-wise. Is it all about money? Is that what's going to get you moving forward?
The honest answer to that is I don't know. I mean, I think it's always a little bit more than money. You need to do the right things at the right time, and next year I feel there could be a few more seats in World Superbike available than there's been before. There's a lot of riders, perhaps the contracts are coming up for renewal and things, and obviously maybe Foggy will retire, maybe he won't, which will mean a definite opening for a British rider to replace Carl. So I feel that there's more of a chance of moving up next year, irrespective of whether my team goes or not.
It'd be nice to get rid of that number 2 plate first though, Chris. Paul Denning's National Tyre Suzuki team has come a long way since the early days, but what of the future?
From our position, we don't really want to talk about next year too much until we're a little bit closer to knowing what we're doing. The British Championship is pretty much got everything you would want in terms of appeal for sponsors and appeal for the riders and everybody else. But it sounds a bit dull, but largely it'll be a decision based on what our commercial partners, mainly Suzuki Great Britain, want to do for next year. And definitely World Superbike is a consideration. But if I was a betting man, I'd bet at this stage we'll probably be in British Superbike again.
OK, so say you do stay in British Superbike, it's obvious where Chris Walker's aspirations lie. He wants to move into the world stage, and it's looking fairly promising for him. In terms of trying to replace him, that must be an unbelievably difficult task, given his popularity.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't say irreplaceable, but currently close to it probably, particularly as a rider who's capable of riding a 4-cylinder 750 at the pace that the 1000cc twins are able to go at, and that's a fairly unique guy. I mean, obviously John Crawford's been given a big help into Superbike racing by being Chris's teammate, and he's got an absolute perfect target to aim for there. We would love to go World Superbike with Chris Walker as one of the riders, but ultimately if we can get him into World Superbike or a World Championship still on a Suzuki, then maybe it frees us up to consider British Championship again next year. So ultimately the rider's probably the pivotal thing in the whole situation, and he's made it clear he'd love to stay with his team, and just as importantly stay with the brand. So if we can keep on a Suzuki, that's really the first target, and then the rest will sort itself out after that.
With Walker the high-profile member of the team, you'd be forgiven for overlooking the reigning Supersport champion struggle with his new Super